I've always been someone who enjoys traveling alone, staying away from crowds and the noisy cities. This time, I chose a remote hill up north, a place known for its stunning forest scenery, fresh air, and especially, an old wooden house listed on a vacation rental app. The photos looked ordinary, the price was surprisingly cheap. I didn't think much and booked 3 nights, hoping to enjoy some complete solitude. The host sent only a brief message, keys under the flower pot by the door. No need to meet, just make yourself at home. I found it a bit odd, but convenient. I don't like too much interaction when I travel. By the time I arrived, dusk had fallen. The narrow path up the hill had no lights, only the sound of wind and rustling leaves. The wooden cabin emerged through a veil of fog, beautiful, almost hauntingly so. I found the key as instructed and stepped inside. Everything seemed fine, until I noticed a piece of paper on the table. Important rules for overnight stay, please don't ignore. I picked it up, feeling a mix of curiosity and unease. Wasn't this just a simple vacation? The cabin wasn't big, just a bedroom, a small living room, and a kitchen. The furniture had a thin layer of dust, as if no one had stayed there for a while. But everything was tidy and neatly arranged. I dropped my backpack on the sofa and started exploring the place. From the start, something felt off. Not fear, exactly, but more like I was being watched. I looked at the paper more carefully. It wasn't about house rules like no smoking or keep the place clean. It was a list of rules that were so absurd, I froze. 1. Do not look into any mirrors after midnight. 2. If you hear footsteps on the roof, do not go outside. 3. Absolutely do not open the door for anyone after 2 a.m., even if they call your name. I laughed. Clearly, it was a joke, maybe the host trying to add a spooky vibe to the forest cabin. I tucked the paper into the drawer, telling myself not to let imagination take over. That night, I cooked some noodles, drank a beer, and read a book near the fireplace. Everything was quiet. No wolves howling, no strange sounds, just the soft whistle of wind through the cracks in the door. But at midnight, when I was brushing my teeth and glanced into the bathroom mirror, I saw something glide past behind me. I spun around. Nothing. The room was silent. But the mirror had fogged up, as if someone had just breathed on it. I shivered. Told myself it must be steam. But I remembered, I never used hot water. I woke around 1 a.m. to the sound of footsteps outside. At first, I thought it was an animal. But the steps were too clear, heavy and steady, like an adult walking on damp wooden planks of the porch. I held my breath, rose from the sofa, and crept toward the window. Outside, the night was thick and black. The moon was obscured by fog, blanketing the entire hill. I saw no one, but the footsteps remained closer. They circled the cabin. Quietly, I opened the drawer to find the list again, those strange rules. My hand trembled as I read the second one again. If you hear footsteps on the roof or around the house at night, do not go outside, and do not look through the window. My heart pounded, but I had already looked through the window. A soft knock came at the front door. I froze. Someone whispered, "Hey, you in there?" A woman's voice. Familiar. Exactly like my ex-girlfriend's, the one who passed away 2 years ago. The voice kept calling, pleading, gently knocking. I stepped back, shaking. Instinct told me not to open the door. I glanced quickly at the third rule, do not open the door for anyone after 2 a.m., even if they call your name. I sat down on the floor, covered my ears, eyes shut tight. But the voice kept calling, closer, sadder. And then I heard the one thing that froze my blood, if you open the door, I won't have to be out here alone anymore. I sat paralyzed by the door, heart pounding. Outside, the knocking stopped. The voice vanished. Silence fell like a weight. I looked at the clock, 4:35 a.m. If the note was right, from 4 to 4:30 a.m., do not open the door for anyone. If someone calls your name, don't respond. I made it through. I was still alive. I stood up, legs still shaky. Outside the window, the fog had thickened. I decided to walk around the house to clear my head, make sure everything was back to normal. But near the kitchen hallway, I stopped cold. A man was standing there, the host who handed me the keys when I first arrived. Rough first night, huh? he said with a faint smile. I stared for a moment. I thought, you didn't live here. No, I stay at the foot of the hill. But saw the lights were still on, figured I'd come check. His voice was calm. I nodded, but something was wrong. His face wasn't quite the same as yesterday. Rigid. Unnatural. Trying to stay composed, I asked, and the rules you gave me, are they real? His expression shifted. The smile vanished. You read them all? He asked, eyes locked onto mine. Good. But there's one thing nobody ever writes down. What is it? He didn't answer. He turned and walked toward the back door. I quickly followed, but when I rounded the corner, he was gone. The door remained shut. Not a sound. I looked around. On the floor where he'd stood were muddy footprints. But no open doors. I stepped back, a chill running down my spine. Maybe he was never human at all. I nearly bolted from the house at first light. Left my belongings behind, never looked back. I just wanted off that hill, fast. I pulled over down the road to catch my breath. My mind reeled from everything that happened. The crying in the bathroom. The woman's face staring through the mirror. The host appearing, then vanishing. And those muddy footprints no one could have left. I survived, but I knew I had seen something that didn't belong to this world. I tried calling the host to explain why I left early. No reply. When I stopped by the tiny tourism office at the foot of the hill, where I booked the cabin, the receptionist looked stunned when I mentioned the name. You said you stayed at Mist Hill Cabin, she asked, face growing pale. But that place has been closed for 3 years. There was an accident. I asked again, trying to stay calm. I stayed there all night. It had power, water, and people. She shook her head. We haven't had staff there in years. The previous owner disappeared in 2022. Police never found a body. I shivered. In my jacket pocket, I still had the instruction paper the host gave me. Don't answer voices after 4 a.m. If someone says it's daylight, don't believe them. Check the sun through the west window. I didn't dare pull it out. I just wanted to forget, but every night since, when I look in the mirror, I see someone standing behind me. Always in the mirror. Always at 4:00 a.m. After everything that happened that first night, I planned to leave the cabin for good. But curiosity, or maybe stupidity, kept me there one more night. I told myself, maybe it was just exhaustion and imagination. I locked the doors, closed all the curtains, and sat quietly in the living room, still clutching the survival rules paper I found under the pillow the first night. Scrawled across the top, rule number 4, do not open the door after 4:30 a.m., even if they call your name. I glanced at the clock. 3:55 a.m. Suddenly, knocks echoed, 3 strong, firm ones. I held my breath. Then came a voice, sir, please open up. I'm the receptionist from town. We have urgent news. It was the voice of the girl who greeted me when I first checked in. But I knew no one could reach this hill at this hour. The roads blocked after 11 p.m. I stayed silent, calmly. I turned on my phone's mini security system linked to the house. No one was at the door. Just the foggy porch, and a shadow flickered past the edge of the camera. So fast I thought I imagined it. Outside, the voice softened, but the tone distorted, like a recording played through an old speaker. We just want to help you. Don't be afraid. I jumped when the front door knob slowly turned, even though I was sure it had been locked tight. I could only lower my head and read the rules in my hand like a fragile prayer. Rule number 5, if you survive until sunrise, don't look back when you leave. It may not be ready to let you go. I still don't know what it is, but I know I don't want to find out. I couldn't sleep. After last night, every noise in that hill house startled me. The wind hissing through the window sounded like whispers. The clock struck for 4:45 a.m. I just had to last until sunrise, then I'd leave for good. I sat in the wooden chair facing the large window overlooking the valley. The fog was thick, covering the path, hiding the gate. The porch light flickered. And then, I saw a figure. Distant, at the edge of the fog. Not moving. Just standing, like a statue. I checked the security cameras. The front one showed static and a low hum. The sidecam still worked, but I wish I'd never turned it on. On screen, Something was crawling along the roof, slowly, silently, as if searching for a way in. I rushed to bolt the door and dragged the table in front. Then, a soft knock sounded behind me, not the front door, the closet in the bedroom. I stepped closer, flashlight in shaking hand. On the old wood door was a small dusty handprint, like from a child. I remembered the final rule written in red ink: if you hear knocking from inside the closet, don't open it. Even if it's your own voice calling. The knocking returned, this time with a voice: "Hey, open up, it's me. You forgot about me, didn't you?" I gasped, every inch of me frozen. It was my own voice. I don't know what helped me survive that night. Maybe instinct, maybe luck, or those scribbled rules I'd found in the kitchen drawer. What I thought was just a joke: don't trust the voices. Don't open any door after 4 a.m. And if anything calls your real name, don't answer. 6:00 a.m. A sliver of sunlight broke through the pines. But the house still lay in oppressive darkness. I had locked every door, unplugged all the cameras, and curled up in a corner of the living room, waiting for time to pass. I thought it was over, until I heard footsteps on the roof again, this time clearer, slower, like it was savoring each step. Then a voice came, right outside the front door: "Good morning, little brother." I froze. It was my brother's voice, the one who died in an accident 2 years ago. I never told anyone. I didn't respond. I shut my eyes tight, covered my ears, and repeated the one phrase I remembered from the paper: "It's not human. Don't answer." The voice continued. Soft. Sweet. Like a memory: "Mom misses you. Come on out. I just want to talk." I trembled, heart pounding painfully. But I stayed silent. I knew, if I spoke, if I responded, it would all be over. Eventually, the footsteps faded. The sun began to rise. I opened the door and ran out, never once looking back. On my way down the hill, I received a message from the host: "I meant to warn you." The last guest also heard a loved one calling. They never left that house again. Underscore 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 underscore. Let me know if you'd like a narrated audio version or scenes from this turned into visuals.